Hi, my name's Kabels. Um, this is my story about my depression and anxiety. I'm doing this for two reasons. The first one is on this day 1 year ago at 9 a.m., I had a severe stroke which forced a 10-year secret screening of daylight. The second reason is I want you to know that there are many, many people out there like me battling with mental illness. If it's you, then I really want you to know you don't have to fight alone. I hope to make you a bit more comfortable and safe, feeling safer about what you are going through and what you can do. I'm reading notes, so if you hear paper rustling or if you notice my eyes are looking at a certain spot, that's what's going on. Here's my story. So I've been suffering with severe depression and anxiety for over 10 years, as well as on and off throughout my life. I'm pretty confident. I'm what they call a high-functioning person who's suffering from depression and anxiety, which means I can hide it very well. I'm in sales, so putting on a costume and pretending comes easily. And I do a lot of strategic business development work, so I've got a pretty thick skin and some broad shoulders. So that all helps, or apparently makes me highly functioning. This long 10-year battle started just after I got married and had our first of two beautiful daughters. I was suddenly grown up and fully responsible for two people other than me. Completely responsible. We made the decision for my wife to be a stay-at-home mum, and that meant a lot of responsibility for me and for her. My wife got postnatal depression, and I now know so did I, not long after our daughter was born. The difference, I think, is being that I'm not a talker about what goes on inside me. Like most men, I don't talk about my emotions and feelings that are really inside easily, or well, in my case at all. I got some depression medication that helped me sleep as well, because that was a huge problem, suffering from insomnia at the time and with a new baby, that good old first 3 months. And that was it. We moved out of the area, and I didn't get the psychological help that if I had got it back then, it would have made the last 10 years very different. I buried it down inside my body and my brain and shut the door and let it run wild. That good old train, when it gets started up, I like to describe it in my head. The old train starts up and it just digs a groove, goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Repetitive thought patterns. My role as a husband and a dad was to provide for my family. Priority number one. That was it. That was my job. That was the way I saw it. I simply never spoke about what was going on inside me. Sometimes it got okay, but most of the time inside my head and heart I was torturing myself, hating myself, beating myself up. Many times I've thought about suicide as a way of simply getting some rest from myself. Having the girls and my wife meant that I never would. So it was head down, bum up, keep going. I kept my secret to myself completely. I only told my wife, and I only told her a small amount. So today, 1 year ago today, while I was making myself breakfast, I had a severe stroke. Not fun and not something I'd recommend. It was not a pleasant experience at all. If I'd been asleep, I'd be dead. That simple. If it had happened an hour earlier, I would be dead. It was a Sunday, it was my sleeping day. And for some reason, I got up a little bit earlier than I normally would. Thanks to having an ex-nurse for a wife and then fast ambulance ride with some great ambos to look after me on that trip. Right to the hospital, an amazing stroke team, and some pretty cool medicine when you get there. They managed to save me. I have 3 strokes on my brain, but they are in spots that only seem to affect some short-term memory at the moment. But the stroke also has increased did increase my depression and anxiety. Common side effect, apparently. Problem I had, though, was people, and lots of them, started asking lots and lots and lots of questions. I thought the stroke had been caused by pure overload of stress and exhaustion, but it wasn't. Quite soon, while I was in the ER, they identified that my warfarin levels were pretty low. So low, in fact, that the warfarin that I've been taking for 23 years since an operation to replace one of my heart valves. I got a prosthetic heart valve. So I take warfarin, which is blood thinners. Basically, my blood had gotten that thin that the valve had started chucking huge blood clots into my brain and caused the stroke. So a lot of very serious questions about me started being asked by the stroke team. The cause ended up being me self-medicating my depression by increasing the medication I was taking to a toxic level. I didn't know this was possible. I was seeing simple script writing doctors at the time, and they knew what I was taking, and mentioned that there was some pretty serious side effects like a stroke were possible. I was mentally coming undone. That's why I increased my medication. I was really struggling, but I had to keep going. My medication was allowing me to keep pushing forward and provide for my 3 girls. That's my mind. That's my purpose. So stopping is not an option. Now, I had to answer a lot of questions about why. Not only to the doctors, my beautiful wife, but my beautiful wife. She's literally just been through the stroke and now this. Like the beautiful tiger she is, she stepped in again to get me help. As soon as I was out of the hospital, I was straight in front of my old GP doctor, who's not a script writing doctor, and he cares about her patients, and that makes a big difference. And she referred me and booked me in immediately to see a psychologist, and I'll be very grateful for meeting Sarah. And our journey continues because I don't think this is a short one. Everyone, though, was stating that the levels of medication I was taking were toxic, and I needed to come off them immediately. But this was my glue. It held me together. It allowed me to keep pushing forward and keep moving. So I thought. And I began to really freak out about what they were asking or wanting to do. I knew what would happen to my mind if they reduced the dose. And I know in no way wanted to put my wife and kids through those dark places on we were waiting. If you've suffered from depression or anxiety, or you are, you know what those dark places are like. And not something I wanted my kids exposed to. And I knew a slow withdrawal of it was going to take months, and those effects would last 4 months. The pressure on me was getting critical. The solution was to take myself off the medication which I was on, take myself off the medication which I was in no state to do, or go into hospital and have a rapid detox under medical supervision and a replacement with a better antidepressant. By hospital, they meant the mental health unit or the psych ward, or there's many connotations for that. Like most people out there, I was concerned about that, but my concern was more over the distressed look on people's faces about being on this toxic level of medication. So I knew I only had one option really, but that meant my sick would be massively out. At this stage, only my wife knew what was going on, apart from the stroke. Lots of people knew about stroke, but nobody else apart from my wife knew about the depression and anxiety. And I knew going into this mental health ward, which is a locked ward, with no communication with the outside world, 2 to 4 weeks. I couldn't go and disappear into a place like that or just disappear for that amount of time without people asking questions. Family and friends and work colleagues asking questions. Depression mounted until I basically had a mental breakdown. I just one day, I think the reality kicked in that I needed to go. I had no choice. I always have a choice, but I needed to do this. And that was completely overwhelming the mental state I was in. But it was the beginning of where I now sit. So it was the right choice. I was admitted into the hospital. It is a locked ward. There are big doors that they lock behind you and you can't get out. But it's a lot nicer place than you would ever think. The nurses are fantastic. The doctors and psychologists are fantastic. I was searched when I was entered the facility and I had a few books and they went through all my clothes and took out anything that I could harm myself with. Drawstrings off my pants, my hoodies and shoelaces removed, and then my treatment began. 3 days it took them to take me off the new drug, so very rapid detox. On the 4th day, I started with my new drug. I went in on a Thursday or a Friday, so by the Monday when all the psychiatrists and everybody comes back in, I was okay, all ready to go. Yeah, that's probably a bit of an understatement. So I did my therapy with psychologists and psychiatrists and group sessions, but I didn't talk much more than hi to the people that were in there, and I read my books and I kept my eyes down and kept my baseball cap on and avoided eye contact. Polite to people, but I didn't want to talk to people. My discussions with the doctors and the medication started to make a difference at the end of the first week. I started to feel better. I started to feel different, which was surprising to me. Then one of the other patients sat down with me at dinner. I'd sort of been sitting by myself and thinking to myself and reading and cap down and avoiding eye contact whenever I had to go out and have dinner or eat with the group. Just simply started talking to me. And he told me why he was in there, unashamedly. Told me why he was in there, and asked me about why I was there. Something inside me opened, and my head and heart found its voice. We talked for 3 hours. I was, I guess you'd probably say, I was a bit, I believe, I was shocked. I was amazed that someone else was having a similar experience. Someone knew what I call a bad day really was. That really surprised me. It was amazing to me. And with more therapy and new drugs working, and I was out and about a total of 2.5 weeks. I'd found my voice now, and as my wife said to my psychologist, he never shuts up. My relationship with my wife and kids now is better than it ever has been. After 12 years together with my beautiful wife, I've had conversations that I've never had before, and we are closer than we have ever been, which is fantastic. 12 months now after the stroke, I still have bad days, but I have many more good days than bad. Bad days for me, if I'm still moving, it's a good day, is the way I look at it. A bad day for me is in my bedroom with the curtains closed, phone on silent somewhere in the house, and not really talking to my wife and kids because I can't. My brain simply just switches off. It'll either go to a bad place, or a recent bad day, it just literally kicked itself into idle, and that was that. Closed my eyes and laid in bed. good thing is that I have much, much, much fewer of those. They last for a day or a few hours, another week anymore. I have good days counted in weeks. We had a good day, a bad day, a bad day. On the bad days, we deal with those day by day, hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute, in order to break them down so that we can move through them. The psychological help that I've received has helped me better understand my own how to deal with this. I've been taught skills. I've been taught how to pay attention to my body, to listen to when it's telling me that something's coming, to listen to the signals that my body gives so that I can challenge them and act on them and try to avoid them. Well, not avoid them, but hit them head on. I meditate. I go for walks. I go for a swim at the beach. I do things to help reduce that anxiety and stress and depression that may. It's taken a lot of hard work. I've had to open some doors that were welded shut. It's been hard, but I have to say it's worth it. I'm a very lucky individual. I'm lucky for my wife and kids' support. I'm lucky I work for a great company that supported me and my family through the stroke and the following ordeal and recovery. I'm lucky for a great HR rep in Alana who helped me have some incredibly difficult conversations and realizations about returning to work. They were challenging. How to reduce what I thought the stigma was that was out there associated with mental illness. Alana was amazing at that, at helping me through that. I'm incredibly lucky for the boss that I have in Mick. We've worked together for the last 6 years. We've been through a lot together. This is definitely tops the cake though. We've had some tough conversations about me and about life and about our lives. But he supported me and my girls the whole way through this. And I'll forever be grateful for that. Because without that support, it would have been very, very difficult to end up where I am now. And that is an extension of the company, but I know the effort that was given. I'm lucky and I know it. Not everyone is this lucky, but there's a lot of help out there for you. But you've got to take the first step. Now, I didn't take the first step. I'm pretty stubborn. I'm pretty pig-headed, and especially if I have my mind made up, which I did. There was a lot of judgment out there. For me to take the first step, I had to have a stroke. I don't recommend you do that. There's a lot of ways around not having to take that as your first step. Begin talking to people. Talk to your GP. Talk to a psychologist. Get a referral from your GP to a psychologist. Get a discounted rate is not the right way, but there is support through Medicare for that. Most businesses of size have an employee access program that can give you free sessions face-to-face with a psychologist. I've used it. I know a lot of people that have used them. My wife has used them as well. And it makes a huge difference because you don't, if money's tight, which it can be if you're running a family, then having that impartial person to talk to really makes a difference. A psychologist is not emotionally connected to you. They're not your family, they're not your friends. They're a person who has only your best interests at heart. And opening up to a person like that, if you find the right one, it is important to find the right one, it makes a huge difference. And the skills that they teach you on, we simply are never taught about how to live life and how to get through life. Change your life. So there's also Lifeline, Beyond Blue, the Black Dog Institute, and many, many others. I want you to know that you're not alone. There's nothing wrong with getting help. Nothing. Out of all the people that I've talked to, and I'm not ashamed of my mental illness and depression, anxiety, not like I was. Maybe 2% of people have some kind of judgment. most people know somebody who've been through it themselves or know somebody who has. As a result, I tend to have some pretty amazing conversations with people. I can, from a personal experience, tell you it's better once you do make that first step and start to get help. It's not easy sometimes, but over time it gets better. Please take that first step. Please talk to someone. That's my story. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope this helps even one person, then it's worth putting this out there into the world. But don't be afraid. There's good stuff on the other side. There really is. Thank you for your time.